Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Well, for those of you who watched my first video, I'm so thankful that you liked it. I know a lot of people watched it. I had some really amazing comments on my LinkedIn post as well, amazing comments on my YouTube video as well. So thank you. It definitely motivates me to create more content, and I plan on doing it more regularly. Well, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Ruchika and I'm a recruiter with Microsoft. I have been a recruiter for over 9 years now. So I have a lot of experience interacting with the student community, and which is why I thought of creating content which would help them, enable them get their dream job. My content would focus on all the non-technical aspects of how you can be successful. And to start off with, this is the second part of the video, on resume tips and tricks. The first video that I created got some amazing comments, and you can see that video in right here. You can click here. I definitely recommend you watching that video because this video would be incomplete without that one. So make sure that you take the time to watch it. But yeah, so this video that I'm creating today is going to go a little in depth into resume tips and tricks. And I do want to kind of share some of the things that will help you, create amazing resumes, that will help you gather and, the attention of the recruiter for a little more than 7 seconds. But like that a recruiter only has 7 seconds to, look at a resume and screen a resume, which means that you have to put your heart and soul into your resume. So let's get into it.
The resume that you see right now on your screen is actually it belongs to someone who reached out to me just last week on LinkedIn, and they requested me to do a quick resume review for them. So in terms of what I liked about this resume was that it was pretty sound. It covered all of the things that I had mentioned in my previous video with regards to the formatting, the colors that you use, the vertical versus the horizontal format, hyperlinking everything, grammatical errors. I think this person did a fairly good job in making sure that all of that was captured, and he created something which is pretty sound. So the reason why I wanted to use this was because I will be as I go along this video, I will be doing an in-depth review of the resume, and I will be sharing some of the tips and tricks that will help your resume to pop whenever a recruiter or a hiring manager reads your resume. To start off with, the education details is something that comes up top for freshers. So if you're a fresher and currently you do not have a job or you're looking for a job, then in that case, your education details will come in the beginning of the resume. Obviously, you will mention your college details, what exactly you are pursuing, and your CGPA. What I like about this particular resume is that this person has mentioned that he is in the top 10% of his class, which is great. I like the fact that he's actually taken the effort to call that out. It also captures my attention that, okay, he has been doing fairly well in his undergraduation. So that's good. Also, do want to bring out that for people with experience, education details come last, and for people without experience or freshers, the education details come in the beginning of the resume. So please do keep a note of that. The second thing that I want to call out is, you don't necessarily need to add your additional courses and certifications right in the beginning. What it's doing right now is it's giving this whole thing a very, cluttered kind of a feel. So you can mention your additional courses or any certifications that you have done towards the end of the resume, right? The next one, I do want to call out that while this resume is sound, it does not give a lot of breathing space. And it's making me, if I were a recruiter who had about 7 seconds to read a resume, it would make me very overwhelmed going through it because there is so much that is happening. So make sure that after every heading, you leave some space. There should be some space after every heading. Don't try and fill it up just because you want to make your resume look, really amazing. So that's not the impression that you're getting off it. The next one being the work experience. So work experience is always done in the reverse chronological order, starting from the latest and then working your way back. And in work experience, what I want to call out here is that this person obviously will be graduating in 2021. So all of his experience is basically internships that he has picked up. So do mention that if your experience is internship, then make sure that you mention that it's internship, or if it is part time or whatever. Do make sure that you mention that very correctly. Um, and what I like about this particular resume is that he has probably picked up an internship in Hong Kong, which is great, and that is something that is catching my attention right now because I'm assuming that this person went above and beyond to get in touch with people on LinkedIn, or maybe was able to network with someone and able to get this opportunity through that. So which also gives me the sense that this person makes things happen for themselves. So very important on how you're able to write your experience on your resume, how you're able to put it on there so that the recruiter can pick up these essentials from it. Now, another very important thing, and a lot of students, tend to do this, is they either, overplay their experience or they underplay it. I have seen resumes wherein, students have probably put like one-liner saying that Microsoft Virtual Internship. That's it. Or, Google Summer Internship. That's it. So what is important is when you're talking about your internship experience, there are two things that you need to keep in mind. One, you need to talk about what exactly you did during that summer internship. So what is the technology that you worked on? What was your work? What did your work entail? What exactly did you do? And the second thing being, and very important, what was the impact of your work? So a lot of times people, write really lengthy, resumes wherein they explain everything that they did. Probably they were probably working on some really groundbreaking technology, and it was really great and they were able to describe it wonderfully. But what they miss out is the impact that it created. So for example, if you worked on say a feature of Teams. I'm just giving an example. If you worked on a feature of Teams, what impact that feature created? How many users were able to use that feature? How many millions of users were able to kind of use that feature, and how did it benefit them? Right. So it's very important whenever you write your internship experience or even your work experience for that matter, you call that out very, very clearly. So, and make sure that impact is always in numbers, volumes, percentage. Like, for example, if I see this resume, this one right here, he says that, um, conducted a data driven research with a team of 5 analysts, which improved our analysis by 10%. So he is giving, me volume percentage. He's actually giving me something that I can actually assess his competence, his skill, and his expertise. So this really helps me gauge this resume easily. Another thing that a lot of students are a little, I would say, hesitant to put is, sometimes, and a lot of students are doing this right now. They're working in startups. They're even founding startups. So if you have founded a startup, don't be hesitant to put that experience on your resume. That's fine. Uh, it shows that you have worked. It doesn't mean that you have to compare yourself with someone who has probably done their internship in a tech giant, and you did not do that kind of internship. So it doesn't mean that you are at the back foot here. In fact, what it shows is that you're a leader. You want to you believe that you have the capabilities of creating your own company maybe in the future, and you're not hesitant and you do not fear the unknown. So that's what it shows. So make sure that if you are talking about your experience, you put all of that information in it, right? The other thing being, moving down, if I were to, talk about, the next important thing is actually the achievements or the accomplishments that students tend to put, and which is a great thing. And I like enjoying, I actually enjoy reading that part because it talks about what they have accomplished, what are they proud of. Now, sometimes a lot of students tend to go a little overboard with that piece because I've seen people, mentioning their accomplishments right from their school times. Like I saw a resume where someone said, I was a head boy in my 10th and 12th. I won an elocution competition in my third standard. I won a painting competition in my 10th standard. Like all of that is great. But whenever you are, putting your achievements in your resume, there is a 3 by 3 rule that you need to keep in mind. So the 3 by 3 rule is this: the last 3 years and the first three accomplishments of your life. Okay, you need not go into your past of many years wherein you probably participated in a basketball or a throw ball competition or something like that. Stick to the last 3 years. It could be anything, and not necessarily the first three positions. So if you feel if you're confused on how to talk about your achievements, you can obviously put in write down your accomplishments on a piece of paper and then stack rank them. So, for example, and your accomplishments could be, say, you got a ranking of 500 in your MSET, right? And then the next accomplishment could be you represented India in badminton championship in the Commonwealth Games, right? And then the third could be you won a hackathon, which was a global hackathon, and you got the rank 19th out of, say, almost 2 lakh people who participated, right? So, say if these are the three accomplishments, what do you think should go first, second, and third? And also, accomplishments need not always be academics. And this is a lot, a lot of students tend to do this mistake. They always try to put accomplishments which is only related to the academics. That's not fine. Like I believe, accomplishments can be well-rounded and it can be anything in addition to just academics. So that would be a good practice that you stack rank your accomplishments and put them down. All right. And then, of course, in the end, what comes is your skills or your additional certifications. You need not really mention your hobbies, all of that, hobbies, language spoken, because I don't think it's adding much to your resume. Instead, you can utilize that space to talk about your certifications. And I'm sure everybody's done, a ton of certifications during the lockdown. So why don't you put that there, right? So this is how your resume should look: crisp, to the point, impactful, and amazing. But if you think that your resume is not really capturing all of the work that you have done, you can also add additional links towards the end. Say, for example, you have published a paper on robotics, and that paper was viewed by so many people, and you probably worked with a PhD on this or whatever, and you want to talk about that piece. So you can definitely add additional links below here, and put that information there, hyperlink that, so that if anybody is interested, they can definitely click on it and it will take them to that page, right? Another example of this could be, say, you wanted to, okay, let's say you worked on some amazing upgrade, or you wrote some code that that really helped, maybe a technology or a product. And if you have permission from your previous employer to kind of publish that, you could even put that there as an additional link so that anybody can go and check it out. Graphic designers, for example, because a lot of their work is very related to art and they need to show their stuff, right? It's more on the basis of what you're viewing, they carry their portfolios like this, and they have fantastic resumes, but even then their portfolios are so amazing. You can use those kind of cheat sheets to make your resume look even better. Before I go, I also wanted you to see the purple resume that I was talking about in my first video. And in fact, I had to go into my LinkedIn messages and find that person who had shared this resume with me. It was a tough time for me because this person reached out to me, I think, about 6 or 7 months back. But finally, I was able to track his resume down. Now, I'm not saying that the formatting of the resume is perfect, but what I liked was the color is making it look really nice. And if for someone who looks at about 10 to 15 resumes on a daily basis, can remember this resume that came to her 7 months back, then this resume is definitely, doing wonders. I would recommend that you use color to make your resume pop. And if you were to compare this resume and this resume, I think the purple resume is something that I will remember for a very, very long time.
Thanks for watching that video. I hope it will help you create some amazing resumes, and it will inevitably help you land your dream job. Well, I hope you liked it, but as a teaser, my next video is going to be on the lines of creating fantastic LinkedIn brand for yourself. Well, folks, I believe that LinkedIn is a fantastic tool and it is just over and beyond just a networking tool. You can do so much on LinkedIn, from, getting information, knowledge, to even getting your dream job. And I'll be honest, I got my dream job, that is my job in Microsoft, through LinkedIn. So it is very, very important on how you project your LinkedIn profile, to the outside world. So I'm going to share some tips and tricks on how you can make your LinkedIn profile pop. And in the meantime, watch out for the space. I will be back with my next video in a couple of weeks. Until then, like, share, and subscribe. Bye.